Hello, all, and welcome to the next episode of 30 Days of Amplify. We are moving towards the finale, and I welcome you all again on a Saturday. Today, it's going to be our AI Day. We have experts joining us right from the community as well as from the core AWS developer advocacy team as well. So far, we have covered a lot of ground, and thank you for all your support that you have shown throughout the series. Let me um, move towards the first talk right away. First, we have Michael joining us from US. It's about 12 p.m. for him. Let me bring him on stage. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. And you know what? The time is actually okay because so often my coworker Sally, I think he's in the audience right now. He is adjusting to U.S. time, and now I finally get to experience what he's doing most of the time, which is being on the other side of the time zone. And so, no, I'm super excited. I'm ready to make it work. I have my energy drink, so we're gonna have some fun today.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Michael. A quick introduction about Michael. He is a self-taught developer. I have huge respect for those people who are actually self-taught, and not just that, he has a a varied kind of background. I mean, probably the first time I'm meeting someone who has this kind of background. He is not only a self-taught developer, he's a certified drone pilot, a former professional model. Wow, and formal journalist and politician. Wow. Hats off to you. How old are you?
I'm 36, 36 years young.
Oh, wow. So it seems that you haven't slept at all in the last 36 years because you have achieved so much.
I'm a man of many hats. But you have time when you drop out of college. So I had an extra 4 years that my colleagues didn't have to get a head start on just doing whatever it is that I wanted to, and I made the most of it during that time.
So we have another Steve Jobs in the making who is a college dropout. Continue this journey, Michael. Uh,
Yeah. Trying to be.
Take it away. Over to you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here, and I want to invite everyone, kind of set the stage for a little bit. I want to invite everyone to sort of ask questions throughout the session, even though I may not get to them until the end. I want you to keep track because we're going to be covering a lot of material today that's going to serve sort of value for a bunch of you out there in the audience. So I'm going to get my slides right up here. One second, and then we can go ahead and get started here. So, as mentioned, my name is Michael Liendo. I'm a senior developer advocate at AWS, and I've had the opportunity to transition between AWS itself. I've been on the Amplify team for a couple years. I then transitioned over to the AWS AppSync team, and then now I'm in sort of the general hodgepodge of AWS developer advocates, where I have the opportunity to branch off into really exciting services such as Amazon Bedrock, focus on building out SaaS applications like we'll see today. As it got mentioned before, I am a self-taught developer, which is really cool. And at the same time, kind of scary because I've always had to be that person that's just good at figuring things out on my own. But if you're self-taught, let me know down in the comments because I love to share those battle stories. You can find me everywhere online at Focus Otter. That's my alias. I go by that everywhere. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick things off. So, we're going to be talking about building micro SaaS applications. And you might be wondering, first and foremost, uh, what is a micro SaaS, right? Now, in case you're wondering, this image right here, right? This scientist with his headphones on, like that was me. Okay? That was me as a self-taught developer. As you can see, he's just kind of mixing colors, and that's my origin story. I was a front-end developer focused on creating UIs, and there was always this big, scary kraken in the background, right? Known as the back end. And I never wanted to touch it. I never wanted to look back there. My job was to mix the pretty colors. But then a time came where I realized I have to do more. If I'm going to elevate myself as a developer, I have to know what's on the other side of the stack. I have to look behind my shoulder and get a lot better at building out applications. And what really drew my interest was this market right here. This market of solopreneurs, bootstrappers, indie hackers. We go by a lot of names, but we are the folks that build applications typically outside of our 9 to 5 because we want to make a little bit of extra cash. And what does cash mean in this aspect? Typically, the MRR, that monthly recurring revenue, is going to stem between the goal, at least, is $5,000 to $10,000 a day. Now, or sorry, a month. Wow, a day would be crazy. Um, but I don't know about you, right? If I was making that much money per month, I'm feeling pretty good. That's not pocket change to me. And that's why it's the goal and not where you start. Oftentimes, when you start, you're not making that kind of money because there is a marketing strategy, there's a pricing structure strategy, and a whole bunch of other details that I wish I had the time to go through in 30 minutes. But today, we're going to be focusing on the technical aspects of a MicroSaaS. Okay, this isn't going to be your full-blown B2B architecture. This is B2C. I'm making a product for a specific set of customers, and you want to make sure that when you say specific, you really mean that you're niching down to address a particular problem in an existing ecosystem. It's very, very important. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, building this out on AWS actually isn't the easiest thing in the world when you first start because, well, developers have a lot of things that we have to work on, right? As I mentioned, we have to be agile in these services that we use. We have to be fast in getting our product out the door. We have to have a great experience. We can't just, as a solo developer, I can't just put a typical HTML page out there. It needs to look attractive. It needs to look like people want to use my application. And you also want to make sure that it is production ready. So what does it mean when I have customer 0 and customer 1 trickle in, and then I have customer 100 or customer 1000, right? Is my app able to scale to meet those needs? And those technical needs transition over into what we know as software engineers ourselves, right? We need full stack development. We need the ability to address web and cross-platform concerns. And as a lot of you know in the audience, that's why AWS Amplify is such a great product, because it does address those needs of the indie hacker all the way up to the funded startup, right? But again, we're going to be focusing on that indie side of things. Now, we're using AWS products. And if you're like me, one day you set up an AWS account and you get started, and then you realize, whoa, AWS has a lot of services, right? And as a new developer, you're like, how many? You're like, oh, a lot, right? And you kind of keep going, and you're like, your hand is getting tired because you're scrolling through all of the services, right? And you're like, man, this is crazy. How do I pick which services to opt into? You can see that right here, we're settling on front-end web and mobile, which is going to be a lot of the core services that we have in this session. So it gets tricky. And if only there was a certain architecture that seemed to work really well when it comes to building out these MicroSaaS applications. Whatever could that be? Because at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is it doesn't have to be that hard. You don't have to, at least you shouldn't have to, go through 200 plus services that AWS has to offer and scroll to figure out which ones are going to suit your needs. Is it going to be serverless? Is it going to be serverful? Am I setting up an EC2 instance? What does EC2 stand for? It gets tricky, right? And again, that's what we're going to be breaking down in this session. Here's an example architecture of what we are going to be talking about today. Now let's kind of step through this, walk through, understand it, to really decompose all the different pieces that are part of an architecture. You have a user. The user is going to a Next.js application. Great. A lot of us are familiar with Next.js if we're front-end developers. If not, it's just React, right? Thanks to the awesome libraries that are part of AWS Amplify, we have an easy way to connect our front ends to our back-end applications. So we have Next.js on the front end, AWS Amplify in the middle, and those libraries are going to connect us to our back end. Now, those pieces are going to be that core group of services that you really want to focus on if you are a unseasoned developer working within AWS. So here we have common scenarios. We have Amazon Cognito to help us out with authentication and authorization. We have AWS AppSync, which is going to give us the ability to have both HTTP APIs inside of our web application as well as pure WebSocket APIs. Really, really cool stuff. We have an S3 bucket in case we want to store images. And then we have to persist data at some point, right? And we're going to do that inside of DynamoDB. Now, you don't need just one table. So as you can see, you have AppSync talking directly to DynamoDB. But the cool thing about AppSync is it integrates with nearly any AWS service. So AppSync can talk directly to a Lambda function and invoke it, and then have that Lambda function perform various model generations using Amazon Bedrock. Really, really cool stuff. And again, that's going to be part of what we're talking about today. But this architecture ends up being super composable because all of this service generation and service creation is done with AWS CDK, which AWS Amplify wraps. Really cool stuff. Now, talking about it is one thing, but we should probably get into how this all comes together in a MicroSaaS application, right? So let's kind of take a look at that Amazon partner that I showed on the previous slide, Stripe. Stripe is a really cool aspect when it comes to building out SaaS applications because of the many partners that it supports, because of the fact that they just acquired Lemon Squeezy and are going to have things like purchasing parity inside of their ecosystem. But then they also have two really cool components that make it amazingly simple to get a SaaS application off the ground. I'm talking about these right here, the Stripe pricing table, which is sort of the big brother to the Stripe payment link. This gives you really cool flexibility to have a pricing table inside of your application. And in addition, we have the Stripe customer billing portal, recently launched within the past year and a half, I believe. But this gives you the ability to have your customers manage their payment information themselves. So you no longer have to write that code that says, hey, if you want to change your plan, this is what you do, and we have to fire off webhooks and all that stuff. No. Those days are gone. Now we simplify things by having your customers sign up and pick a plan with the Stripe pricing table. And then if they ever want to change it, upgrade, cancel their plan, etc., they can do so in the Stripe customer billing portal. So we have AWS Amplify providing all of these configurations and automations on your behalf. And then we have Stripe doing the exact same thing. And what that means is we get to go ahead and bring those together. But as I mentioned, I'm used to creating those fancy colors inside of my web application, right? I'm used to building out UIs. But when I'm a MicroSaaS solopreneur, I need to value my own time. It's one of the hardest concepts as a MicroSaaS developer or as a SaaS engineer in general. Even though I'm good at something, is there a way to offload that to someone or something else? And that's why I use V0 to create my front-end applications. Sure, it's still a Next.js app. It's doing the code generation for me, but that's one less thing that I have to worry about. So I'm adding that as part of the MicroSaaS architecture. Okay, so we have our UIs created with V0. Again, it's just Next.js and Tailwind. We have AWS Amplify creating our backends for us. And then on top of that, we have Stripe creating all the Stripe management configurations on our behalf as well. What does it look like when we put all that stuff together? Let's take a peek. I'm going to break out of here. Now, if you haven't used V0 before, no worries. This isn't going to be a full-on course or anything, but I'm going to show you what I want to do today. So let's say we are building out a landing page for our application, right? So, hey, I'm building a landing page for my group. They focus on AWS services. And this is a MicroSaaS, right? This is MicroSaaS. I already have the product stuff set up. I just need the landing page. Add a simple, I don't know, what should we do? A nav bar? Add a hero section with a call out. And then from here, we can add in testimonials, and a footer, right? Now, I want you to focus on why I'm generating this prompt. If this is a landing page, those are going to be the key components that nearly every landing page has. You have a nav bar that's going to have your logo, sign in, sign out, contact us, etc. You have your hero page. If you're unfamiliar with that term, a hero is just sort of that main section on your web page that says, hey, welcome to my app. Click me to subscribe. And then from there, you can do features lists, testimonials, etc. Add in whatever you want. But then at the bottom, you have your footer. Super common. And when I click enter, the idea is that this is going to get sent out using some kind of LLM trained on various best practices and create this for me. And the really cool thing is that this is going to generate the page and then the various components as well. And as we can see right on this side, you have those various components being created for us. Fake user data is being populated, etc. Now, as this is doing its thing, it looks like we do have a question in the chat. If we can get that pulled up on the screen here, how do we measure costs incurred for our AWS services? Super, super great question. And the way that you do that is being conscious of the fact that AWS is a wrapper around the AWS CDK. So any services that you use are actually just part of the AWS service itself. So if I'm getting cost set up from DynamoDB is where I would check that billing information. Now, the two areas to do it, if you're new to AWS, is going to be in your billing portal within the AWS console. They have a really cool overview, or you can set up tags and alerts based off of a certain dollar amount. I actually recommend that for anyone starting AWS. That way, if you reach a certain threshold, mine is set for $12. If anything happens over $12, you get an email to let you know, like, hey, you're getting additional charges incurred on your account. Great. So let's take a look at what got generated for us. I think I'm zoomed in a little too much. So over here, we have AWS SaaS, super cool name, the various components, and we're going to simplify our AWS experience. Right down here, you have a spot set out for various component areas. You have a testimonial section, again, with that fake user data, and then you have a footer right here. Super cool. I believe this is fully responsive. So if I slide this over and move it around, you can see the data is being modified. Great. Now, this is just an example of V0 and how it would work in a typical application. Fortunately, I did a little oven cooking and I pulled something out inside of here, right? Supercharge your conversations with AI. We are going to make a wrapper service. Now, I don't want to spoil any of the additional talks that are happening on later on, but I do want to show you what this AI infrastructure looks like. And I'll walk you through the various bits as we go along. As some of you know, if you've used Amplify, this is going to be our UI authenticator. So I'm going to say mtliendo@gmail.com. Whoops, I think I have my Focus Otter email in here. Give it a password. Great. Now, again, I don't want to spoil any upcoming sessions. So I'm just going to do an overview of the AI application that we're going to SaaSify inside of this talk. It says, hello, Amplify. I'm going to say, give me a fun fact about, let's do India. Now, when I click send on here, you notice that I get an ID set up right here on the side. Great. Some fun facts about India. Everyone keep me honest, or keep the LLM honest here. If this is actually correct, I don't know. But it's home to the world's largest family. Let me know if you knew this already, right? A bunch of children, a bunch of wives, and they live together in a 100-room, 4-story house Please, someone fact check this and let me know that this is correct. But in any case, this is a standard demo application that we have built within AWS. We'll leave that inside of this session in case anyone wants to check that out. But I wanted to do more with this. I think this is so cool and so awesome that I should probably charge customers for this stuff, right? I should put in a pricing page, and I should take it a step further and let customers manage their account details. What would that look like if I added Stripe into the picture? Well, fortunately, it's not that tough. I can come over here, and inside of Stripe, this is just my Stripe dashboard. I'll bump it up for you. I can search for a pricing table, right? There we go. And then from here, I'm going to create a pricing table. Now, right down here, I'm going to say that this is going to be sort of my chat basic plan. Just like that. We're going to add this as a new product. I'm going to give it a description. Now, I'm thinking because this is breaking new ground and getting out there in front of everybody, that I should make it appealing with a single plan, but also make it cost and affordable. So we'll say an affordable, feature-rich application. Something generic. I can give it an image. I think I have this really cool sort of AI-looking image right here for us. And then for the product tax code, fortunately, SaaS is one of the tax codes that you can use. Personal use looks good. Again, this is all demo data anyways. Features. Well, you saw that you can chat with an LLM. One of the things that you didn't see is that you can also upload photos. And in addition, there's also saved history, right? Really cool feature set that we have going on here. Pricing is interesting. I don't want to go in too much depth with pricing, but one thing I want to let you know is that the days of doing $20 a month are coming to a close. And the reason being is because when you have an AI SaaS architecture, $20 doesn't tell you much, right? Oftentimes, what you want to do is usage-based pricing. So instead of a flat rate where someone could use the model a whole bunch of times, which you would end up eating those costs, you would charge them based off of their usage, right? However much it costs to run the model, plus a little bit extra for yourself. But let's just say that because we're getting this off and on the ground, we're going to have a $20 a month period here. Cool. Let's add this product. And there we go. Optionally, we can add a free trial if we want, or other products themselves. I'm going to keep it simple for the sake of time, and I will just change the color down here because I'm kind of vibing with this purple that we have. On top of that, I'll highlight it and then click continue. Now, a couple of things here, and this kind of gets important. We can make additional changes right in here, but what I want to do is say when you get done paying, and I know that you've paid inside of my application, I don't want to show a confirmation page. I don't want to show a simple, thank you. Instead, I'm going to move you over to https:// and then for now, I'll say localhost 3000, right? This is just my application. So I'll click continue from here. And I don't have any other products that they can change, but this is switching away from the pricing table and over into the customer portal itself. So we'll get out of this, and you can see the various things that a customer can change. They can change their subscription, they can cancel it, they can change their payment method of choice. Perfect. I'm going to select finish, and now I have two things that were created and that I can put into my application. I have the code for the pricing table, and then down here, after I preview everything and update any payment methods that I want to have in my application, I also have a link where customers can manage their actual Stripe account. Perfect. All right, so we have that set up. And again, looking back, I'm taking this application and I'm going to transition it over to something like this. Supercharge your conversations with AI. Let's imagine I went ahead and I put all of that data inside of my front-end application and inside of my client-side code. You can come down here. You have our hero section. You can check out the pricing information. You have testimonials and you have a footer. Same thing from V0 that you saw me generate. I just brought it over into this application. Great. Now I'm going to check out pricing. Okay, so we're going to go through the actual flow. In my case, I changed it to $2 per month. Same features apply, and I'm going to subscribe. In case you've never seen a Stripe payment page before, super simple. Bump this up so we all can see it, and I'll put in my details. I'm going to pay by card. Fun fact, 4 2s all the way. If you know, you know. Great. Inside of here, we can just say sometime in the future. And then 424 sounds good. This is me. You see I do a lot of dummy testing. Inside of here, I can just say somewhere, and that'll pull up somewhere. There we go. And there we go. Now, when I click on subscribe, it should take me back over, after it gets done processing, into my application. And now I'm a paid customer. This is great. And there you go. Now, one of the things that was promised was the ability to upload an image, right? So let's kind of see what that looks like. Hey, I'm going to upload an image. Is that okay? Right, we'll give it a generic question like that to kind of see what's going on here. It's like, yeah, you can upload, whatever image you want. Awesome. Let me take this a step further and we'll upload, how about this MicroSaaS image that I kind of taken from the from the homepage of this event. So we'll kind of see what it has to say. I'm just going to keep it simple, right? Describe this image for me. Please, always be nice to your LLMs. And what we're seeing here is the new features of AWS Amplify. This is going to be the Amplify AI kit. All of this, sort of the chat widget, the file uploader, the input box, the loading indicator on the assistant, all of this comes with the Amplify AI kit. Recently announced this week, my colleague Sally has a bunch of great content out on it already. And this is going to do its thing. It's going to upload this image along with my query to an LLM and then come back with a description. While this is doing its thing, we do have a comment, which is what AI backend is being used in this demo. If we can pull up that question on the screen. Perfect. Yeah, great question. This, and thanks for joining the session, by the way. This is using Claude Sonnet 3.5. In case you're wondering why it's taking a little bit, I actually added throttling to make sure that I didn't go over any, incur any overages as I was doing this. Now I'm kind of biting myself because I should have prepared a little bit better for this. Let me refresh in case this is taking a little bit too long. We're going to create a chat. And I'm just going to say, describe this image for me. Okay. So I think I just had a little bit of a timeout. If not, again, live demos, right? What can you do? We'll kind of give this a moment to see exactly what comes back.
What kind of questions have you tried in this kind of chat?
So, yeah,
question?
Great question. In preparing for this session in particular, 1 second. Oh, I know why. Actually, to answer your question and to solve the issue that I have right now, I downloaded a high-res photo. And one thing that I forgot to introduce inside of my application, again, we're still a budding startup, is the ability to detect image file sizes. So I've done things like give me facts about dogs, and I've uploaded a picture of my dog. I've uploaded pictures of my cat. But the one thing I wanted to keep in mind was you can't have the photo be too large, right? I can't send a very large image over to an LLM just because it takes time for that to process, and sometimes it'll time out. So to accomplish that, I believe I have this one, which is 165 kilobytes compared to the one on my desktop. Yeah, which is 6 times as big. So I'm actually going to switch over to this one right here. And now let's see. Describe this image for me. And again, please. Now, if I send this off, there we go. And you see how quick that was, right? It was timing out before because I just made the image too large. I have a resized image right here, and it's giving me some really cool detail very, very fast. And the reason why it's so fast is because AWS AppSync has the ability to open up a WebSocket and have all this data sent back to us as it's processing it. Yeah, and as my colleague Sally said, right, you want to be nice to AI because you never know what might happen in the future with these things. But we get really descriptive, right? And it's talking about this event right here. It's talking about the banner and how it features 3 speakers. If I can pull that image up real quick, just to show all of you what it says. Let's see here, to kind of compare with the description and what is on the screen. Move it here, and this is the image that it's showing. Right, 3 speakers here. You have my talk, you have the time, it has the banner, and as it's pulling all this information, it's grabbing the text. But in addition to the text, it's also grabbing the sort of the colors that are in it. Right, the badges are visible in the top right corner. Really fascinating stuff. But again, you want to be charging for this inside of your application. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time going over the code. It looks like I'm running past time already, but this is your general SaaS, right? If you want to manage this, you have a profile button, and this link down here would just take you to your Stripe customer portal. To show you what this all looks like in code, I'm going to bring up my code editor, and this is just Next.js, right? We have a pricing page inside of our application. Ignore the TypeScript warnings. But I'm bringing in that Stripe component. And you've seen within the Stripe documentation how it provided that for me. This is just a page inside of my application. And over on my landing page, this is all generated from V0. I have a link to the pricing page itself. There we go. So link me to the pricing page. Inside of that pricing page, have a Stripe table. That table is configured to go to my chat application right over here. And inside of this chat application, we have the ability to interact with our LLM. Now, the question came up, how is this all being configured? In 20 lines of code is all it took. We're going to capture a conversation, in which case you have to be a signed in user to do so. I talked about using Claude 3.5 Sonnet. The really cool thing about this is that this has IntelliSense built in. So these models pull up for me, right? I'm not hard coding model names inside of here. I'm telling it how it should behave and how it should act. And then I have the ability to name the topics as well. So every time I type in something, you saw that it switched to image description. I have another LLM, which is grabbing what I generated, turning it into a title, and that's what's showing inside of my application. Really, really simple, really, really powerful. And again, this is thanks to the newly announced AWS Amplify AI kit. But from there, I wanted to go ahead and turn these back over to the audience to see if there are any questions. Because after the demo, I just wanted to take this time to say thank you. I definitely will, as I see that comment pop in, I definitely will be sending out this repository. It is an enhancement on what is currently available within GitHub, but I know you'd like to get your hands on this, so I'll make that available to all of you after today's session. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. And this has been a great set of speakers that we have lined up for us tonight for me. But I'll turn things back over to Amandeep to see if there are any more questions.
Hey, Michael. I think, we have, there was one which says, can we integrate Q Business with Amplify?
Yeah, so the great thing about Q Business, now Q Business in particular is a paid product, right, within AWS. And as I'm still sharing my screen, Amazon Q absolutely integrates with this. And one of the cool things is that it has the newly released feature of being able to have selected code highlighted, and then it can make inline transformations for you. Now, Q can do a lot more than just that. You can chat with your files, and it can really understand what you're trying to do. But to show you what's going on here, I have the Amazon Q extension pulled up, as you can see right here. And if I go over to my application, and let's just take something simple, like this one right here. And inside of here, let's kind of highlight this. You can see that prompt gets set up for us right here. And I'm just going to say after, again, you kind of never know what you get with these, but after the H1 tag, add an input with the default value of, we'll say focus order, just like that. I'm going to hit enter. It's generating. It's looking at my code. And there we go, just like that. I have the ability to accept or reject the code and bring that into my application. Again, it could do way more powerful things and transformations than that. But to answer your question, you absolutely can you can integrate Q Business with Amplify.
There's another one. Any official Amplify AI demos available?
In addition to mine, which is going to be showcased tomorrow, or actually Monday. Tomorrow is Saturday here. In addition to mine, we have demos from our colleagues, which are being uploaded, and we have been releasing blog posts every day this week for the announcements of Amplify AI Kit. So definitely check those on the AWS samples repo and the AWS build on AWS repo. But again, this specific repository will be uploaded soon.
Awesome. There's another one. Can we integrate AWS credentials and calls services right inside V0 code? I think no, but you can answer it.
Yeah. So the question is, can we use V0 inside of our code editors with AWS credentials? You can't. Those are two different services. V0 is actually a SaaS service offered by Next.js. If you were looking for something similar, something where you can have code generated, who knows? There might be special announcements here in the very near future that would suggest that you can do those kind of things. I don't want to lead too much into some upcoming features.
Awesome. So Sally is joining us in some time. Can you talk more about the AI release and other cool stuff that you have been recently working on?
Definitely. So there have been a couple announcements. One, I mentioned Stripe and how that works, but the features that my team focuses on are going to be Amplify AI Kit as well as AppSync events. And a lot of folks have been wondering, what is AppSync events and how does that work in the grand scheme of AppSync? Well, AppSync is a managed GraphQL service. At least it was. And the really cool thing was that it gave you the ability to have HTTP and live data inside of your application. And you actually saw that with that data that was streaming in to my application, right? It was real-time events. AppSync was powering that. The thing to note is that when it comes to AppSync, you traditionally had to tie in or buy in to having a GraphQL API. That's actually no longer the case. So yeah, you don't need a GraphQL API anymore. You can just use a standard break-alone subscription-based service with PubSub. Customers seem to really love that. That's been doing great. And then with Amplify AI Kit, there are two primary features that it is comprised of. One is going to be solving the use case of having a conversation with an LLM. Right? Oftentimes, you want to carry out that sort of back and forth and keep the context. Right? If I say, "Hey, describe this image of a cat," and I get a response back, I don't want to have to keep saying, "Describe the image of a cat." Right? It should remember that I'm talking about a cat. So I can just say, "What color is it?" And it is very important because that carries all the context of what the conversation was previously. Amplify AI Kit handles that on your behalf. You don't have to write that code anymore. And I've written that code before, and it's hard, right? It's error prone. It's not fun. And it's really cool that Amplify AI Kit takes care of that on my behalf. The other part is going to be your simple sort of do a thing for me. Create an image What do you think about something? Just a general code generation response. So having a conversation is one, simple input and output is the other. Amplify AI Kit handles both of those use cases.
Awesome. There is more of a comment from one of the previous questions. Just like to highlight it because this is close to my heart as well. Um, so there is
What do we have here?
a request.
So yeah, thanks, Michael. I wish there was a simplified view from Amplify console itself. It would
So
help.
he's talking about the billing part.
Oh, this is back on the billing stuff. That is actually a feature request that we have gotten already. So we're listening to what customers are saying. One of the things that got brought up is if Amplify creates all these services on my behalf, wouldn't it be really cool if those services that got created were in some kind of billing dashboard, right? What I can say is that the team is aware of that comment and they are listening. I don't want to make any promises on what's being built or not built, but that is a heard comment, and I'm sure that we'll have a GitHub issue with a response. What up,
Awesome.
Saleh?
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. I just got my coffee, so I'm full of energy now. How is everyone doing? Michael, you are a really tough act to go after, man. Like you put the bar too high, and now I'm here with my slides, and I'm thinking, I should have brought some demo in.
Well, don't ask me to remember anything because I'm so tired right now that
Yeah, okay. Oh man, you are the best because I know it's too really late for you, but it's almost time, and the next week is the Thanksgiving week, so it's also exciting.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, it's a great time. Thanks for joining today.
Yeah, thank you, and of course, Armin, good to see you, man. I'm really excited.
Again, thank you a lot, Michael, for joining us so late live, and it was a great talk. And we definitely would request you to, come back
Anytime.
and join us
In
again
person next time.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe in person, because in the last live stream, I was talking about it with actually one of the heroes, Johannes. You know him too.
Yeah.
And he was saying that maybe we should do Amplify road tour in India, and I'm like, yeah, that's always a great idea.
Yeah, but there was also a comment that we need a sponsor for that.
Yeah. It's a tiny detail.
A little bit, little expensive.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks again, Michael, and hope to see you again.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. Catch you all later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Sally, thank you. To everyone knows Sally by now. He has been a fundamental person behind the scenes as well as on screen. He probably without him we could not have done 30 days of Amplify. To be honest, he has been the backbone of this
Thank you. Thank you. Honestly, I'm just happy to be part of this and work with everyone with you and behind the scenes on this. I feel really excited and privileged. And yeah, I'm also really excited for the talk from today.
Thanks, Ali. And we just a small announcement. We had another speaker due to some reasons he's not able to join us today, and Sally is filling in, and he is on the road. His son is next to him, so in case you hear Ali screaming from behind, just here with him.
Yeah. But all good. I think I can make justice because I think this week, I can continue with the slides later on.
Awesome. So shall we bring your slides on stage?
Yeah, I will also just go in the full mode. And I will not see you, by the way, Aman. If you come back, just say my name. So I have my laptop with me, okay?
Sure.
Perfect. All right, I'm ready. Okay, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy and lucky to be back. For the folks who don't know me, I'm Sali. I work with AWS as a senior developer advocate alongside with Michael. You've seen maybe Eric and many great people. we all focus on how you can make your life easier as a front-end developer by using AWS technologies. And today I will be talking to you about a release that we did this week. It's called Amplify AI Kit. And Amplify has a great AI capability that brought in this week that can make your life easier. Michael showed you a great demo. We'll take a step back and see what we are talking about first. So with like Amplify's latest version, if you work with it, we know that we have like 3 pillars. One is you can host your applications. And the second part is you can use TypeScript to define your backend, as well as you can work with your front end. And also we have something called sandbox environments and also like Git-based publishing systems. So you can have like branches and so on working for your applications. Right now, Amplify supports like databases, API, storage, authentication, functions, and so on. And with the latest release, now we have the AI ML capabilities. This was a really quick rundown of what is Amplify right now as you start your project. So let's take a step back, like I said, and talk about generative AI in AWS. I'm sure like when you talk about generative AI in AWS, you've seen the applications that we bring in, like Amazon Q Developer, for example. There was a question earlier on by an audience. These are your tools that can make your life easier as a developer, as a team. The idea is to make your life easier and your efficiency higher. We also have something called Amazon Bedrock. That Bedrock's point of view is to make your AI applications work and operate faster and better through the foundation models. There are many foundation models behind the scenes that can help you out with knowledge bases, guardrails, agents, customizations, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, we have the foundation model training infrastructure. For example, we have GPUs, AWS Trainium, Inferentia chips, and like we have Amazon SageMaker to make your life easier. We have also partnerships going on with many companies alongside the technologies as well. In case you didn't see it, Amazon Q Apps Creator, also we have the App Studio and Amazon Q Business. Alongside the console is working fine in the IDE as well. Amazon Bedrock supports all of these companies' models that is available from foundation models that is available, like Meta's Llama, Anthropic's Cloud. Amazon has its own models and so on and so forth, and many more. You can have text generation, image generation, any type of content generation available out there. So this was the business side of things to keep you up to speed so you can easily understand what we are going to talk about when I say AI, when I say Amplify, and when I say Amazon Bedrock. So we will be building a simple application. It will be called a quiz application. We will be using Expo. In case you don't know it, Expo is a framework for building React Native applications. The reason that I picked Expo is because of 2 reasons. One is I really like the developer experience. The second part is thanks to the templates, we can easily create a TypeScript supported project for us. And the reason that I love React Native is because I wanted to build a cross-platform mobile application. I'm a mobile application developer. I have been a mobile application developer for like 10 years before this. So I love this, and I always want to keep it hands-on. And for creating an Amplify project, you need to have like 2 things. One is an AWS account, and second thing is you need to configure the AWS account in your project. And next thing is, in case you have like Node Package Manager npm, you need to run the npm create amplify, which is the create amplify command to create your project. It will bring in all the necessary files for you. What do I mean by this? Let's run this. So for example, once you create the project, you have the folder structure. For the authentication, you have an authentic auth folder, and underneath you have the resource.ts, which keeps the resources for your application. In addition, we have the data. The data keeps the database information and so on for your application behind the scenes. And most importantly, all of these, if you want to tie all of these together, what you need to do is you need to call in the backend.ts file. Underneath it, you will call your resources, and these resources will come together and deploy your backend. So right now, for example, if I open up the resource.ts under auth, you can see that we have a defined auth function to define our authentication flow. For data, we have our schema. With the schema, you can have the authorization, you can have guests, authenticated, owner, and also you can have groups that can help you out to have proper authorization. In addition, you can define your models, but if you don't want to just do models through your schema, you can have queries, you can have many other things as well. And last but not least, in the backend of this, you will define your backend. So whatever you want to define, you will think define and the resources that you want to use. Define auth, define data, then define backend. All right. So the next thing. Right now, we've seen how we can build the models in the simplest way. Let's see what we are talking about when I talk about building with AI. With building with AI, you can do it in multiple ways. I will show you the previous way that we have done through the Amplify Gen 2, and we will see the actual one in action. So you can see that you can have custom types. You can run the query to run a third-party tool like, not third-party, sorry, another tool like Lambda, or you can run the apps and queries, apps and resolvers like JS resolvers directly from here. And you can define authorization rules by that as well. Sorry, I need to wave to my son. And you can define your prompt in another file. You can run and invoke the model according to your needs. And if you run the application, if you give the proper permissions to your data source, then everything will be all right. You will be good to go to run the code generation or run the front-end generation of your data. So if you want to run this query that I have mentioned earlier on, what are you going to do? We are automatically generating the front-end code for you, so you don't need to think about anything extra. What you need to do is to run generate client. And with the generate client, what you need to do is to get the client object. Underneath, you will have access to your models, to your queries. And with the AI, you will see in a second that you will actually have access to your conversations as well. And you will just call the name of the query or model that you want to have the access, and that's it. The rest is just regular programming. It's also type safe, so you can define your types. You can get the name of the type, so you can be a good citizen in case something was broken as well. So, as you know, if you run TypeScript, I don't know what you think, but I think we should not use any. Am I right? So, okay, let's continue from where we left off. Just a second, yes. All right. So the game right now will look like this. We have like two players, like they are searching for a game. Once the search finds a game, both of them at the same time read the questions, and once the questions are generated, they will both see the question at the same time. I know this is ugly, so give me a second. We will fix this one as well. Everything is in order. Everything is there on purpose. So like there, you can see that we go through everything, and at the end, we will see who is winner or not. So we have the gaming logic in place. With the gaming logic in place, what we did was actually creating a game object. And the game object that we have here is having a reference to the player 1, player 2, the questions that has been generated, the current question to show the both, so they can listen to that question item under the game model, and of course scores, so we can show who is winning or not as well. All right, we did the game walkthrough. So now let's talk about Amplify AI. Amplify AI is the new Amplify AI Kit is a new way of building things for your Amplify applications. What do I mean by this? It's a code-first developer experience for Amazon Bedrock. So everything that you've seen on Amazon Bedrock, in case you have access to the models, we will try to have an easier interface for you to create an application. For example, do you want to use Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, V1 or V2, it doesn't matter. You can define a prompt and you will be able to use it. Also, we have something called tools. Tools are your way to access to the third-party APIs or internal APIs like your database and so on. How it works is, from the client side, we have React hooks, or we have the TypeScript library, so you can directly use the APIs. Or, as we've seen in the previous talk from Michael, we also have UI libraries. UI libraries are easier way to create a chat application faster. You just define the data and give it, and that's all. But behind the scenes, what happens is when you use these libraries, you actually talk to AWS AppSync. The AppSync does the API part of the job for you. It calls the data, and Lambda does for example, Lambda goes, generates the data, and does a streaming back in case you are doing the streaming part. In case you want to do one-time generation, you can call other things. In addition to this, everything happening behind the scenes to generate the data is happening under Amazon Bedrock. So with the UI, you can simplify the conversational UIs. You can define the user, get the username, and also you can customize each element of the UI as well. If you have access control as well, like I mentioned, you don't have to just hope for the best, because like one idea of Amplify AI Kit is to make your life easier, make your life faster by building many of the things for you. What do I mean? Security. What do I mean? The permissions perspective for the models through your policies. Everything that you want to do, we can do it for you out of the box. And also the customizable chat responses. The responses that you've seen here, they might look basic, but you can see there is also, for example, the button perspective, image perspective, and so on. And these are customizable. So you can define a card. The card can have anything. You can basically build a whole component for the response as well. And while building it with Amplify AI, there are two aspects of building. One of them is conversation, the other one is generation. The conversation part is keeping the history of your talk, so you have the context of the data that you want, and we also have we have something else as well. What we have is generation. Generation is a one-time thing. The one-time operation helps you out to generate anything that you want once. For example, you want to have a summary of your conversation, you will call the generation instead. These kind of things will be helpful for you. And let's build a simple thing. Like, let's build this application. It's a review summarizer app. It is like they're like hotel listings, and with the hotel listings, we want to get like from all the reviews, we want to get a good or bad vibe. So first thing that we do is to go to our data, because like this is part of our data model. We actually call the reverse summarizer. It is using generation, meaning that it is a one-time operation. It gets the model. We provide the model and say, you are a helpful assistant, and you will summarize whatever I provide you. And we will provide the whole structure for the comments, and with the comments, they will get this. And once everything is there, what we are going to do is we will return a summary text, and it will be just shown on the screen. And when we go back to our UI, we will call the hooks through your AI hooks for us. And like with the AI hooks coming in, we will get the data, and we will put the data there, because when the hooks receive the data, we will directly have it on the screen. And once it is there, you can click on the button after the deployment happened through your sandbox or your real environment, and you can see that there is a summary according to the AI. The next thing that we are going to do is, let's see a conversational experience, because we want to see the conversational AI as well. First thing is, for conversational experience, you will be saying a.conversation. The conversation will keep the history of your chat, meaning that all of these are saved to the DynamoDB, so you can get your information. And once the information is there, we will be getting these stuff. And like we are also saying that, okay, for the conversation, we have the tools. Like I mentioned, the tools are your helpers to call the external APIs, and also they are helpers for you to reach out to your database. It will automatically understand from your description, and LLM will generate according to your tools that you have. So what we have here is, now we use a different hook. It's the UI conversation, not the UI generation. And with the hook, we just build a UI. You can see that this AI conversation is our conversation, which is pretty cool, right? Like you can have like 5 lines of code, and there's already a chat application. You can define your avatars. You can define if you want attachments. And also you can define in case you want to have a custom UI application as well. And now, for example, we are saying, do this. It says, yeah, certainly here's the things, here's the beach and so on. And it found some stuff through my data that I had in my listings application, even though this is a different one. It just reaches out to that data, which is also pretty cool. And it brings in everything as a text, but we just don't want it as a text. We want to have it as a nice rendered message with like multiple buttons, so I can directly book it, for example. And once you book it, once you bring it down, you can create everything again. Let me move forward with this. You can say, show me a list of describe. We bring in information, and from that information, it will bring in a hotel for me. It will bring in a place to stay for me. And now it found something. It says, okay, this is the charming two-story beach house, steps from a Mission Beach, which is also, again, pretty cool, right? So let's continue. So we've seen everything in action. Let's see how we can use it in my application. So first of all, let's run this. So you can see that I had like many things. Let's delete the Bedrock JS because I'm not going to use that. As I said, we will take care of the resource management for you. So I'm getting rid of that as well. I'm showing you how it's going to make your life easier. We are getting rid of everything with the query. What we bring is we are bringing the generation, which is the one-time operation that I had mentioned. It's going to create a quiz. It's going to do a quiz generation for me. And with the quiz generation, the prompt is going to stay the same. But the big advantage of it is that you can also return custom types. You can return a list of custom types. It will take care of the deserialization of the data for you. So it will parse the result and bring in the custom type that you had defined earlier here. And this custom type is just a model, not just a model. So it's just a DTR the data object that you can easily use. And the authorization rules work on everything. You can define it as an owner as well. And once everything is done, we will just get rid of all of these extra front-end code to parse the data and so on. And we will just keep the call as client generations because we use the generations call and generate questions. And with the generate questions, now it will generate our question directly in the type that we expect it to be. So last thing that I want to show is there was an Amazon Q question, so I want to show this one as well. You have seen the UI was like quite horrible. With the Amazon Q, now Amazon Q is like working with a lot of AWS services, including Amplify. They're aware of UI and backend. So in case for the backend, you can define and it will create the backend for you. And also you can define your UI and update it as following as well. You can say this is an ugly UI, just get it. And within inline chat, you can just say that, hey, update this one, please, for me. And once it is done, it will go through each line. And at the end, let me move forward. It will ask, okay, do you want to accept the changes? And I will accept it. And once it is done, it looks definitely different. There's a matching pattern of the buttons. You can see that the texts are looking nicer. There are boxes to keep the questions. There are like same colors, and also there are headings, for example, for the buttons as well. This is, of course, not perfect, but it is better than before. And imagine what you can do with more prompting along the way. All right, so where to go from here? First of all, you can check out the documentation. We have, if you go to docs.amplify.aws, you will see the documentation. I built a real-time quiz application recently. We have the starter projects as well. I will share the links later on as a message too. Like check out the social media for this. Like you can find me on social media with this Salih Güler, like on LinkedIn and also on Blue Sky as well as X. One thing that I want to show is I didn't share that part of my screen, but I want to reshare it. Just a second. Share my screen, share screen. And window. I have a lot of windows here, so I will just use this one. All right. So in case, can you bring the screen, Aman? It would be nice.
Yep, done.
All right, perfect. So, for example, Michael had created, it was released yesterday, this RAG-based application thing with Postgres. It's like, we already have a lot of like advanced content already about this Amplify AI. And this is from him. Yeah, let me move this. We have also, like I also released yesterday, building a travel planner application with this, with knowledge bases and RAG as well. So like you can see how you can work with something more deeper, or in case you want to have a like simpler one, it shows how you can call an external API easier. And last but not least, we have the chat-based AI application interface as well. All of these are on front-end web and mobile blog, which the link is. I will share. No, that was shared on YouTube for a moment. I will try. I'll open it just a second. And I'll just share it. And besides it, yeah, that's it, more or less, for today's talk. If there are any questions, I'm ready to answer. Besides that, I think I will be done before my wife loses it with our son.
Thanks, Ali. That was a great talk again. There is one
Yeah,
very
thank
creative
you.
question, in case you have time for that. It says,
Yeah.
can we create our own V0 kind of SaaS application using AWS Amplify AI?
I mean, that's a crazy project. So I don't know. Like the thing is, you can. I'm sure you. If you do everything right with Amazon Bedrock, you can. But like V0 is quite a task, I would say.
Yeah, that's doable, but you have to put in those
Yeah.
resources and efforts for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Right. So I know you are out, Sally. We would not hold you more, and thank you again for
Thank
taking
you.
on a Saturday.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thanks, bye. Okay. Next we have Aditya. He'll talk about Bedrock and AWS Amplify AI. Let me bring him on stage. Hi, Aditya. How are you?
Yeah, hey, I'm fine, and yeah, okay, yeah. So, pretty much what Amandeep explained. Like, my name is Aditya, and I'm working as an AI developer at Camu, and like I've been having almost 4 to 5 years of experience related to AI, blockchain, DevOps, and almost everything related to backend, and like related to UI, right? Like the front end React stuff. I'm not that much good in that, but like I really hate UI. So, but I got complex with that, and I started to learn about that. So we'll discuss about that.
Yeah, I mean, so we go hand in hand, right? So
Hmm.
um, no application is complete without either. So everything is needed. Okay, cool. Would you like to bring up your slides?
Yeah, just a minute. I'll share my screen.
In the meantime, a quick announcement that we are soon closing our window to submit the hackathon entries for as part of 30 days of Amplify. In case you are still working on it, um, please hurry up because time is pretty less right now. And we would love to hear your feedback on how we did, how the speakers did, and what are the kind of talks that you would like to hear in future. We had one hands-on workshop, but we would definitely plan to have more workshops in future. Um, so over to you, Aditya. Take it
Yeah.
away.
So I just explained about myself, and like I got the biggest achievement that which I did. It's related to the patent that which I got related to mechanical engineering field, and actually I'm from a mechanical background, and I started to learn AI related due to the projects. And like currently I'm working as the single AI developer in one of the edtech company. So like I've been developing RAGs, Gen AIs, models, multimodal stuffs, And like in this session, what we'll be discussing, it's related to, like, if we got time, we'll be discussing about two different use cases, if that's fine. So the first use case that which we will be discussing, it's related to the AWS Amplify. So just a short review about AWS Amplify. Like most of them know, right? So AWS Amplify, like we can deploy almost all kind of the front end, like React Native stuffs, everything related to that. So what's something that like I bought in this demo, it's related to the Bedrock. So Bedrock, we are having almost 30 plus LLM models over there. So like we can actually use them directly, and like one of the best model that which recently came up, it's related to the Claude 2 Haiku and the Claude to V2 Sonnet. So like Claude V2 Sonnet, that they what they gave us, it's related to using the tools. Like one of the best tool that currently came up with, it's related to the computer controls. Like what you can do is you can just give a prompt to the system and it will automatically do the search. It will automatically do the sharings and almost every other stuffs. So like we'll play around with that in later. Yeah. So like I'll just describe about this. Yeah. So there are two use cases, right? So the first thing is LLM model evaluations. Okay. So like what's LLM model evaluation? Like currently we are having multiple models. Like let's take we can build your own custom models, but we don't know like if that's efficient or if that's producing something like toxicity or robustness, if the like model is doing that much pretty works or not. So like what we will be doing here is we'll be evaluating with other models that's already available. Like you can also bring up with your own models as well. So and the other the demo that which I brought here, like I don't know, like it's incomplete. It's in a halfway. Like it's related to the multi-agent architecture. So the multi AWS Labs, that's the GitHub repository that they are currently having, and they have hosted this multi-agent orchestrator library. So one of the best things that they have built, it's like you can actually play around with agents. Like you can build your own custom agents, you can also bring your lambda models, you can do almost whatever the stuffs you want, you can play around in that. So like I have currently developing the UI for that. And like that's the short description. Like we can also see how like deploying the UI, it's very easy for us because of the AWS Amplify. Okay, so when we go with the backend stuffs, it gets somewhat complicated because we need to have the proper library setups, we need to have it serverless. When you go with the serverless architecture, we need to have it more like cost effective, we need to have it more efficient, it needs to be getting in real time responses. So that's the bigger task over there. So yeah. So the architecture. So what I have done over here is we'll be using the AWS Amplify, and currently we can also use the Cognito for the login stuffs. So other than that, will the backend stuff that which we'll be doing is we'll be using the API gateway. For that, we'll be using step functions. So what the step function actually does is that we'll be having like three different models. Like we can, like in the AWS, that the console that they are actually providing, right, they are actually giving you LLM model evaluation, but what happens is you can only evaluate one model at a time, right? So it gets for our organization, we need to actually deploy and test out multiple models a multiple time. It takes around 10 to 15 minutes to complete one model evaluation. So what we have come up with a plan is that we will be using this architecture where we can actually scale up to add multiple other LLM models as well using the lambda functions. And also other than that, we can also have with like we can also use the Bedrock models. We can have multiple other models. You can also deploy your own models in there, and you can also test it out. So we'll be using the S3 bucket, and we'll be using the DynamoDB for the like the evaluation stuffs. We'll be storing the orchestration, or we'll be storing almost every other things in the DynamoDB. So yeah, maybe let me show you the UI. And yeah, so this is the UI that which we have currently built. And like we'll be having the dashboards, So this dashboard is that you can give you a prompt like this is where based on the prompt that which you're going to give, it will be evaluating. We'll be evaluating the models based on that, right? So like let's take if you're going to have a summary of some other topic or some other stuffs. Like let's take AWS community groups. India is organizing an event related to Amplify. Just uh, give me a detailed stuff, something related to this. So what happens is we can select multiple models here. Like these are the models that's currently having in our like that I got approved and like I added over here. So yeah, we can actually select any models that which we wanted. Like here, we can also have the AWS Titan and like the evaluation model, right? So we need to select the candidate model. So what happens is this candidate model will be based on the responses that other three models gives you. This candidate model will be evaluating the stuffs. So like let's take if there is a person who's having a higher knowledge and he has got some other like PhD and stuff, so he'll be doing the evaluation for the like colleges students and you have something like that. So it's just like that. So based on this, most probably we'll be using the evaluation model which is on the higher level. So for now we'll be having Claude V2, Claude Sonnet with that. Yeah, we can have this and we'll change this to any other model because Claude Sonnet is the latest model and it's having the higher rate of like higher knowledge base and it's having almost 80. It got scored in META at 80 percentage or more. So based on the knowledge stuffs, so we'll use that over here and like yeah. So once we click on that, it will be giving us an run ID. It's actually not giving that. So other than that, it will be like what happens in the back end is it will be just going. Yep, we can see the code. Yeah. So once I clicked on that, right? So what happens is it will be like we have this template model over here, and yeah. So what happens is we'll be having this template model. Yeah, this is the SAM template. So you can actually deploy this directly in your own services. You can also test it out in your local systems. Like all you need is you need to configure the AWS configure before running this. So once you've done that, you can actually test it out. The whole stuff it's actually available here. So the only one thing that which you needed is you need to do the layers. So the layers, it's like the Boda 3 library is the main library that which you will be using for this. So you need to layer the Boda 3 because it's actually outdated, and we need the latest Boda 3 which is supporting the LLM evaluation through the CLI. Okay, so like to get the layers, what you need to do is you need to just pip install the library in a particular folder and zip it, and you can actually take it to the UI. You can directly put the zip file and layer it. So that's the shot over here. And we have the multiple different lambdas. Okay, so I have created for let's close these stars. Okay, yeah. So what happens is we are having for the check status, right? So we'll be having this libraries, we'll be having this like this, it's actually written in Python. And like what it does is it will be triggering, like it will be directly in the lambda functions, and when we hit the button it will be triggering this through the API gateway, and this will be the process will be actually running. Okay, and like the same code when we are having for the different three different models, right? We'll be having the same code for the model 1, model 2 and model 3. We can actually parallelize it, or we can also use the same code as model 1, model 2 and model 3. Okay, so based on the template file, the SAM template that which you have written here, what it will be doing is it will be taking the code, it will be directly deploying it in the UI, and yeah, you can see the Amplify stuffs here. Okay, so you can like what Amplify provides you is that you can actually use other services in AWS. Like you can use the API gateway to directly integrate with like you can use the API gateway and directly integrate with the other stuffs, right? With the UI. So other than that, what you can also do is you can also bring up AWS Add API. So it will be directly adding the AWS configuration to you can configure the API directly in the CLI itself. So that's the best stuff over here. And we have the functions. These are the pretty almost all the React stuff. We also have the CLI JSON and like the build file, which is having the static JavaScript files. So yeah, holy shit, sorry. Yeah. So we are having the JSON. This is where we will be describing the UI stuff, the color standards, everything over here, and like the SRC, which is having the components like for the dashboard for almost all the tabs. So like what we'll be doing is we'll be directly calling the Lambda models from here, like the APIs, and that like when you run this just a script that which I already have in this code. Yeah, deploy.sh. So what it will be doing is it will be running the SAM deploy, and it will be all you need to do is you need to configure before running this. So AWS configure before running this. Once you've done that, it will be running almost all the stuff, and like it will be giving you a .env file. In the .env file, you will be having the APIs so that you can directly run the Amplify deploy. Okay, so So what happens is we can see the projects and its run IDs over here. We can see if it's running or failed. Like we actually when it fails because of the some other parameters, like there might be some issues with the like the model access levels. Before running this, you need to get the model access. So I forgot that. So once you get the access, you can directly run this, and it will be giving you almost all the stuffs. And like this is actually running in the backend when you it will be like each and every time like for 5 to 10 minutes it will be going and querying if the service is running or not. So so what happens is the Lambda model, right, it will be just going and it will be checking if the service is running or not. If the service is completed, it will be updating the DynamoDB that it's completed. So once completed, you can actually see the status here, like that it's completed, and you can see the evaluation job results in this tab. Okay. So I can click on this and it will be loading the results. It will be showing the three different stages, like the context at which you are given, describe the difference between on-demand delivery, and like summarize the pay-as-you-go price. So it's the LLM model, and it will be giving you based on the model that which you are giving, and based on the candidate model that which you have selected. So it will be giving the accuracy. So if the model is actually giving more accurate to the content that which we needed to generate or not, right? So based on that, it will be also giving you the toxicity, the robustness. So this actually helps the like whatever the organization may be. So it actually helps them to analyze. It actually helps them to like understand what the stuff is going on, like that, right? So all the prompts that which we are running, it will be stored in this stuff. We can see all the prompts that which are running, it will be stored here. Okay, so we have the repository over here, and you can actually run it out and test it out yourselves. So other than that, we have the other demo, which is the multi-agent orchestrator, which is by AWS Labs. And like what happens is here you can actually test it out like multiple different agents, and you can also connect multiple agents together. So like let's take if you are going to do a web search and you have another one Lambda for that, like doing the web search and scrapping you the data from the web, you can actually name it as agent A, and for the agent B, what you can do is you can summarize whatever the agent A does. So like that, it'll be like the first agent's output will be the second agent's input. So that's the stuff it actually works here, right? So there are multiple like they have the demo page over here with yeah, we have the docs, and you can run it out. But like what I thought is they don't have an UI for this. So so what I thought is, why don't we bring up an UI for this? And like I just started to work on this, and like I have the UI, which is not that much complicated, but it gives an overview and idea of what can be done. But it's I'll show you the UI. Yeah. So this is the UI. So what happens is when we click on the chat, you can actually give the models, whatever the model name that which you needed. But it got stuck. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you can select the agents models over here. Like when you create the agent over here, you need to give the agent's name, you need to give the description, also you need to select whatever the agents that which you want. So for example, if you're going to create an agent, like let's take test agent, and like I haven't completed this, so it will be probably giving us an error. Hello. I guess my screen just turned off.
You can try refreshing it probably.
Yeah, like my screen just turned off. I'll just stop my screen and add another screen.
Okay. It's a great talk so far.
Thank you. So where did it go? Yeah, it's visible, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is like we'll be having the test agents, and you can also write whatever the description that the agent needs to do. Like for example, if you need to have a specific use case for this agent, like for example, you need to do search do search on the topic that the user shares you about, something like this. And you need to be more descriptive, like when you come with llms, the more context that which you give, it will be more understanding. So the more you add it, it will be understanding your stuff, and it will be more like more understandable. Okay. So what happens is like currently I've added only the three models, like not other than like what I done in the llm evaluation. Like you can add almost all the models here, like, and also you can enable the web search. For a web search, what we have done here is we are using the DuckDuckGo API. So it's the open source that's available. When you add the agent, it will be adding, and the backend stuff it's not completed yet, so it won't be adding now. Okay. So, and the chain agents, so it's still work in progress. So what happens is like there is no descriptive way to attach two different chains together, right? So what I have tried to do is we can attach these two agents together in this chain agent, like descripting the with the React flows. So what it will be doing is it will be showing you how we can actually show like how we can actually visualize all the multi-agent orchestrators library file itself. So other than that, we also have a knowledge base. So you can actually add your own files over here, and you can actually give the description for what's the knowledge base it's about. And you can also select a knowledge base over here, and you can just click on upload file. It will be uploading through your S3 bucket. So each and every time when you come here, when you select an agent model, like the catching is not proper, so you need to refresh every time. And so when you come here and when you click on the agent, and you can also select the knowledge base over here, and you can actually test it. So this is what they have given in the React flow. And for the same, we are having the backend, and which is having all the stuffs related to the components over here, which is done in TS React. And also other than that, we'll be using, okay, sorry, wrong repository. Um, yeah, we have the amplify for here. So like we have like the same stuff that which I have done for the LLM model evaluation, right? So it's the same stuff that which is going on over here. So I'll be using an template file, which is in the backend, and amplify.yaml. Yeah, template audio. So what it does is it's the same SAM template. It will be using the layers that which I already have created for almost all the stuffs, like the Boto 3 layers, and like the creating the layers. It's very helpful when you run multiple different APIs, right? When you hit the APIs, it will be more efficient and more useful. Like when you have multiple places where you need to just call and reuse the layers, so it will be more useful in the lambda layers. So I have done this, and all you need to do is the same way. You need to just start this, and like I have deploy amplify scripts. What it will be doing is it will be going and deploying, and like when you do that amplify deploy or amplify publish, what it will be asking you is it will be asking you for few parameters, right? So like what I have done is, okay, sorry, not in the folder, cd. Okay, so what it will be doing is we don't need to like there are two methods actually. So one is to actually directly add the AWS API, and also what you can do is you can actually add almost all the APIs directly into the AWS Amplify itself. So for that you need to go with Amplify add API. So it will be adding the API for you directly, and okay, so I didn't go to the folder. Okay, I'm in the wrong directory. Okay. Yes.
And that is what happens in live demos.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So like there is a Gen 2 that's actually available. What you can do is you can actually upgrade to the Gen 2. It's having additional features other than this. So yeah, let's just test it out by doing all the commands amplify in it. So I'll be explaining about what it does. Amplify in it. Yeah. So it's asking me whether to use the existing environment or not. So we'll be giving yeah, because we will just test it out. Create an environment name, test, and other than that, use the AWS profile or access key. I have already configured AWS configure, so I'll be using the AWS profile. And other than this, please choose the profile you want to use. I have the default profile. Hmm. So it'll be just deploying the code that which I have in my local. So that's actually what it's like. I'll show you the local code as well. So it's the same code that which I showed you in the UI, right? That's the same code that's actually in the local. So it'll be deploying. It'll be creating the stuffs in your terminal itself. So like this is one of the method. Other than that, you can actually use the GitHub code as well. You can directly replicate in the AWS console itself. So Amplify console itself. So that's pretty much about my demo. I got only till here.
Also, we have a fan for you who's asking that which Linux flavor are you using?
Oh, it's actually just Ubuntu 2204. I need to
Uh-huh.
upgrade to 2404, but it's actually having pretty much bugs, so I haven't updated it.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great demo. And this was, I understand, using Amplify Gen 1. And when you upgrade to Gen 2, probably you would
Mhm.
get additional features as well.
Yeah, there are few issues with when it comes to Gen 2. Like they are offering few additional advantages, but also it comes with disadvantages. So
What are the disadvantages that you get?
Yeah, like when we go with Gen 2, you cannot actually go with the previous the verbose that stuff that which you're having, right? So like you need to come up with the latest latest SDKs, everything that should be latest. We cannot use the like the older versions of the of whatever the application that which you're having. So
Okay. Yeah.
it gets headaches.
Yeah. It's basically the case with more or less
Mhm.
the software industry. I would say that there are things which are at times not backward compatible.
Mhm.
Yeah, but essentially Gen 1 and Gen 2 are like
Mhm.
fundamentally different. One is based on CDK and one is not based on CDK. So
Right.
yeah, but great talk, by the way. And
I'll share my QR code as well. Maybe people can.
sure. uh,
Like that's for the session over here, and you can follow me in LinkedIn, and it's here. So like the code that which I have run, right, it's actually available in the GitHub repository. You can actually test it out, you can actually play around, you can also contribute. That's like I'm actually working in 2 to 3 projects at a time, like doing open source contributions. So like that's also for AWS labs, and like we can also giving back to the communities. It's very good, right? So that will be more helpful. And like we can play around, we can have discussions related to this, we can also work around with new projects, what are the stuffs we want, we can talk about that as well. Yeah.
sure. Awesome. Again,
Yeah.
thank you, Aditya, for taking time out, and I hope to see you around again in future.
Yeah. Thank you, Amandeep.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone.
Let me bring Vishal on stage now. He'll be conducting quiz today. Hey Vishal, how are you?
Hey Mandeep, I'm doing good. So that after these exciting sessions and insightful thoughts about AWS Amplify and AI, this AI day was certainly very thoughtful, and we got to learn so many things from those great speakers. So it's time to get into the quiz. So it is the quiz from the tournament that we are part of, these 30 days of Amplify. So let's start quickly. I'll share the link of the quiz. You can join it, and we'll start with the quiz after that. Okay. I hope everyone is ready with the quiz. With great excitement, let's get into quiz. If anyone has any issues, please comment in the chat. And
Yeah, would you like to share the link of the quiz?
yeah, I have shared the link in the quiz in the comments. Along with
Uh,
that, share. I'm not able to post.
yeah, the link has now been shared.
There is also QR code on the screen. Amandeep, if you can share the screen with attendees, they can scan it and be a part of it.
Okay. Let's give the audience some time to join. And by the way, great talk that you gave last time. We had a good turnaround of audience, and everyone appreciated it. Yeah, we can probably
Thanks,
have
Amandeep.
a hands-on session as well sometime.
Sure, sure, yeah.
Cool. And are you heading to reInvent?
Yeah, I'll be there in Entertainment. I'm traveling next week, so it's going to be great fun. I'm attending it first time, so probably looking forward to many of the great things over there.
Awesome, awesome. How many people have joined so far?
Let's see. I can see 4.
Okay. Um, let's wait for another 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. So for the attendees, this is fastest finger first round. So you need to be quick in order to win this round. And There is no chance to search on Google or ChatGPT for that. You just have 30 seconds, and you need to make sure that you are answering it fast so that you'll have the. Uh, so it is basically calculated on seconds, milliseconds, according to your answers. So make sure you are fast enough and you are winning this quiz. At the end of the tournament, we'll be announcing the overall quiz tournament results, and there are fabulous prizes from AWS and AWS User Groups India as well.
Okay, let's start probably.
Okay, let's start. I'm starting with the first question. First question coming on your screen in 3 seconds. Stay tuned. And first question, what is the main database used in AWS Amplify? That is pretty simple. Amazon S3, Bedrock, DynamoDB, or Route 53. Amandeep, I think Route 53 is a very good database, right?
Absolutely.
7 seconds to go. So usually we confuse people and attendees in person because awesome. All the participants, 100% participants have given the correct answers.
No one took your bait.
Let's go to the next question. Let's see. Second question out of 5 coming on screen in 1 second. What is a MicroSaaS? A small child, software solution focused on particular niche, and entrepreneur guide to $1 million, and Stripe pricing table. Oh, interesting options, Amandeep.
Yeah, that's the one from Michael's talk.
Okay. That is pretty simple, I guess. We will have again 100% over here. Great. A software solution focused on particular niche. So I guess this round is going to be based on purely on the time whoever answers it first. Let's go to next question. What service enables HTTP and WebSocket APIs? Amazon Q, Lambda, AppSync, or Amazon Cloud is Supergraph? That is little difficult. Let's see if you have heard the sessions, Michael's session with attention, you should be able to answer this.
2, 1, and 0.
Oh, so 3 participants have given it correctly, answered it correctly. AWS AppSync was the correct answer. And 75% participants have answered it correctly. Let's move. The next questions might be a little difficult. Let's move to the fourth question coming on screen in 3 seconds. Stay tuned. Look at your screens. When implementing AI features in an Amplify application, what is the most efficient architecture for handling real-time AI processing? All AI processing must be done on the device to minimize the latency. AI processing can be handled through AWS Lambda functions with custom machine learning models. The prediction category automatically manages processing location based on the feature complexity and device compatibilities, and real-time AI processing requires manual configuration on SageMaker. Oh, that is superb. So prediction category automatically manages processing locations based on the features, complexity, and device capabilities was the correct answer. 2 participants have given correct answer, and here is the shuffling of the leaderboard. I can see Agarwal Tanushree is on the top, followed by the Rupa Lahiri, and Rachna is following. Rachapudi is following them. Okay. Let's go to the last question. This is going to be decisive. Yeah, Mandeep, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. This can still turn around things.
Okay, guys, you still have the chance. You can still win. So give your best, answer it fast, and answer it correctly. Let's move to the last question. Come on. This question on your screen in 2 seconds. Which statement best describes the correct approach for implementing multiple AI services in single AWS Amplify application? Each service requires separate authentication and configuration. and must be deployed independently. All services must be configured during initial Amplify project and cannot be added later. Services can be incrementally added to existing Amplify application and prediction category, and AI features can be implemented after deploying separate SageMaker endpoint for each service. Let's see who has answered it correctly. That's good. AI services can be incrementally added to existing Amplify applications using predictions, category sharing, and same authentication configuration. That's uh, very good. Like 75% or three participants have given correct answers over here. So yeah, I can see the leaderboard. Let's end the quiz and see the leaderboard over here. Yeah. Uh, Tanushri is leading the leaderboard with 5 correct answers and 74 in 74 seconds, followed by Lupa Raili. And third one is Rajapudi Venkatapavan Vishnu within 45 seconds, but he has given the 4 answers correctly. He has the lowest time, I guess, but that's good. That was very good participation, and probably we have the winners over here. I'll take the screenshots, and our volunteer team will get in touch with you for when we have the tournament results for the prizes. Okay, Amandeep, over to you. Thanks for giving me the chance to host this quiz.
Thanks, Vishal. Thanks for hosting the quiz, and thanks for all the participants for not only joining all the talks but also participating in the quiz. And our last finale is going to happen on Monday, a day after tomorrow. That's just going to be a wrap up of all the things that we have done, and we would probably announce a few things as well. Thank you for your continuous participation throughout, and see you again in our last session. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.